Rosh Hashanah, we read, Tshuva, Tefillah, and Tzedakah ma'avirin et roa gezerah. Before we translate that entire sentence, let's first briefly discuss what Tshuva, Tefillah, and Tzedakah really mean. Tshuva comes from the root word shav, which means to return. We're asked to leave all those things that distracted us throughout the year and return to our core selves. Tefillah is known as prayer, but if you really want to understand the root of something, you have to see the first time it's mentioned in the Torah. When Jacob hears that his son Joseph was really alive all those years, he says, I was never palal that I would see him again. From the context, it's understood that he meant, I never imagined or believed that Joseph was alive. So tefillah in its essence requires us to imagine or believe that things can be different, that we can be different. Tzedakah is charity. So let's go back to the verse. Tshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah ma'avirin et roa hagezerah. Loosely translated by many prayer books as tshuva, returning, tefillah, prayer, imagining or believing, and tzedakah, charity, abolishes the bitter decree. But that's not entirely correct. The more accurate translation is that they abolish the bitterness of the decree. But what does that mean? Well, a couple of months ago, we lost a great man, Yehuda Waxman. Yehuda was the father of Nachshon Waxman, who was captured by Hamas terrorists in 1994. You might recall the incident. The terrorists released a video demanding the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for his freedom. If Israel did not comply, they vowed to kill Waxman the following Friday at 8 p.m. A team from the elite Special Forces unit of the IDF tried to rescue Waxman from the Palestinian village north of Jerusalem, where he was held. But his Hamas captors killed him as the soldiers were closing in. Yehuda spoke after his son's murder and said, and here I'm paraphrasing, when I was young, I had a debilitating illness, that prevented me from serving in the army. It was hard for me to get a job since I didn't serve. I asked God to help me find a job. He said yes. But then due to the illness, I had a hard time finding a wife. I prayed to God to help me find one. He said yes. Then the doctor said I wouldn't be able to have children. I prayed to God again, and again, he said yes. When Nachshon was captured, I prayed to God to save him. This time, God said no. You see, no is also an answer. Sometimes God, for whatever reason, won't abolish a decree. But if you live a life filled with returning to our core values and believing that we can be better and living a life of charity, at the very least, the bitterness will be tempered. May we all have the sweetest new year. Shana Tova.